Hello students, today we shall see the next point of our chapter functions. The next point is function declaration. Like variables, all functions in a C program must be declared before they are invoked. Whenever we are using variables in our C program, we first have to declare it. That is, we have to tell the compiler what is the data type and what is the name of the function. Similarly, when we are using user-defined functions in our C program, we have to declare them. That is, we have to tell the compiler what is the data type and name of the user-defined function. A function declaration is also known as function prototype, and it consists of 4 parts. First is function type or return type, second function name, third parameter list, and last terminating semicolon. These are coded in the following format. First we have to give the function type or the return type. Next we have to give the function name. Next we have to give the parameter list. Parameter list is nothing but the inputs given to this particular function, and it has to end with a semicolon. This is very similar to the function header which we have seen in previous lectures, except that here we are using the semicolon. Here is an example of how we are going to declare or the type of function prototype. This is the return type. That means this MUL function is going to give us the result whose data type is going to be of type integer. The name of the function, that is the user defined function, will be MUL, and this function will take 2 inputs m and n whose data types will be both integer, and at last the most important, that is semicolon. When a function does not take any parameters and does not return any value, its prototype is written as. So when the function is not returning back anything or not giving back any result, we have to write its function type or return type as void. Void means nothing. So in this given example, this is a user defined function display which is not going to give us any output. So it will be void. Similarly, it will not take any inputs. That is why we have given empty round brackets with a semicolon. When we place the declaration above all the functions in the global declaration section, the prototype is referred to as global prototype. We have seen in the structure of a C program the global declaration section. So we are going to declare all the user type functions which we are going to use in our program in this global declaration section, and this prototype is referred to as global prototype. Such declarations are available for all the functions in the program. When we place it in the function definition, the prototype is called as local prototype. So when we declare it inside another function, it will be used only by that particular function, and that is known as local prototype. Such declarations are primarily used by the function containing them. That is, in the function where it is declared, only that function can use that particular user defined function. The place of declaration of a function defines a region in a program in which the function may be used by other function. This region is known as the scope of the function. That is, the scope of the function may be global or it may be local. So this is all about function declaration. Next we shall see local and global variables. The variables declared within a function or block are known as local variables. These variables are visible only within the function in which they are declared. So if we declare a variable inside void main function, it will be local to the void main function, and only the main function can use those variables. So those variables are known as local variables. The variables declared outside the function are called global variables and are visible in all the block of codes or function in the program. If we declare some variables outside void main, that is in the global declaration section, such variables are known as global variables, and these variables can be used by anyone throughout the program. The functions created in the program, including the main function of the program, declare variables to store temporary values. If any attempt is made to access the variable outside the function, a compilation error occurs. There are some variables that are used in more than one function. Such variables are called global variables and are declared in the global declaration section, that is outside of all the function. So this is the difference between local variables and global variables. The scope of local variables is limited only in the function in which it is declared, whereas the global variables can be used by any function throughout the whole program. So this is all about local and global variables. Next we shall see storage classes. In C, not only do all variables have a data type, they also have a storage class. So each and every variable in a C program which is declared by a user will have two things. First, it will have a data type which will tell what type of data is stored in that variable, and second is the storage class, that is nothing but what or how the memory will be allocated to that particular variable. So particularly in C there are four storage classes: automatic variables, external variables, static variables and register variables. We shall see each storage class in detail. Before that, we shall see what is the scope. The scope of variable determines over what region of the program a variable is actually available for use or active. The previously what we have seen, the local variables and the global variables are nothing but the scope of the variable. Longevity refers to the period during which a variable retains a given value during execution of a program or is alive. That is, for how much time we can use a particular variable or it contains a particular value is known as the longevity. And last is the visibility. The visibility refers to the accessibility of a variable from the memory. Next we shall see the first storage class, that is automatic variables. We have already used this automatic variables. We shall see what it is. These variables are declared inside a function in which they are to be utilized. They are created when the function is called and destroyed automatically when the function is exited, hence the name automatic. So when we call a function, the variables which are passed in the function are created automatically, and when we end with the function, the compiler destroys the variables automatically, hence the name of such type of variables is automatic. These variables are private or local to the function in which they are declared. Because of this property, automatic variables are also referred to as local or internal variables. So we have already used these variables. Only thing is that now we know that they belong to the automatic variable storage class. A variable declared inside a function without storage class specification is by default an automatic variable. When declaring an automatic storage class variable, we have to attach the keyword auto. But if we don't attach it also, by default the compiler takes any local variables as automatic variable. So if you want to specifically specify, then you have to use the keyword auto. One important feature of automatic variables is that their value cannot be changed accidentally by what happens in some other function in the program. This is because the scope of this variable, for example we take this, the scope of this number variable is from this curly bracket to this curly bracket. So if we make any changes to this variable in this particular area of the program, it will change. But if you accidentally change it outside these curly brackets, nothing will happen to the value of this particular variable. The keyword for automatic storage class is auto, as you can see over here. This is all about automatic variable storage class. Next we shall see external variables. Variables that are both alive and active throughout the entire program are known as external variables. They are also known as global variables. We have seen this previously. These variables can be accessed by any function in the program. External variables are declared outside a function. So as told to you previously, when we declare a variable in the global declaration section, it becomes a global variable. Global variables belong to external storage class. Once a variable has been declared as global, any function can use it and change its value. So in this given example, this value now variable number can be used by void main function and also by other user defined functions. The keyword for the external storage class is extern. But by default, if we declare any variable as a global, no need of specifying the keyword extern. Next we shall see the third storage class, that is static variables. The value of static variables persists until the end of the program. Now if you want to specify that a particular variable is of static storage class, we have to use the keyword static. So in this example you can see x is a static variable of type integer and y is also a static variable of type float. A static variable may be either an internal type or an external type depending on the place of declaration. So if you declare it inside void main, it will become internal static variable, and if you declare it in the global declaration section, it will become external static variable. A static variable, internal static variables are those which are declared inside a function. A static variable is initialized only once. This is the most important thing to be remembered about static variables, is that a static variable is initialized only once when the program is compiled. So once you write a program, you save the program and you compile it, it is for the first time the variable will get initialized, and every time you run the program, the previous value will be used. It will not get again and again initialized to 0. It is never initialized again. An external static variable is declared outside of all functions and is available to all functions in that program. By default, the static storage value is 0. This is the important thing to be remembered about static variables, is that by default the static storage class value is 0. The keyword for the automatic storage class is static. Okay, next we'll move on to last storage class, that is register variables. We can tell the compiler that a variable should be kept in one of the machine's registers instead of keeping in the memory. Suppose if you want to store some variables in the machine's registers, as you have already know the electronics of the computers, that there are some registers, limited registers used for storage, and if you want to store some values in the machine's register, not in the RAM, we are going to use this register storage class. Since a register access is much faster than a memory access, keeping the frequently accessed variables in the register will lead to faster execution of programs. So those variables which we are going to need again and again, we can store it in register so that the access time is faster. So how we are going to declare a particular variable is to be stored in a machine's register? Just use the keyword register int count. So in this given example, this count variable will not be created in the memory, but we are going to use the machine's register. The keyword for the register storage class is register. So this is all about the storage classes used in C programs. Now we shall see an example of an program where we have used functions. Write a program to perform arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication and division using function. This is the most simple program where we have used or implemented user-defined functions. We are going to use 4 user-defined functions, one for addition, one for subtraction, one for multiplication and one for division. Since we are going to use 4 functions, we have to declare 4 functions. That is, we have to write 4 function prototypes. So add, sub, mul and div for addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. All these 4 functions will require 2 inputs of type integer. So int comma int. And all these 4 functions are going to give us some output. These are the data types of the output. So first thing to be remembered is how many user defined functions you are going to use in a program. It will contain those many function declarations. So now our main function, I have taken 2 values n1 and n2 and going to perform all the 4 arithmetic operations on these 2 numbers. These are the 4 variables which are going to store the outputs. We have taken 2 inputs n1 and n2 and we are going to pass these 2 as the parameters or actual parameters for these 4 functions. Here I have called the add function, sub function, mul function and div function. When our program will get executed, our program will take these 2 inputs. It will come to this particular statement. AD is equal to add n1 comma n2. Suppose n1 is 10 and n2 is 20. AD is equal to add 10 comma 20. From here the control will jump to this particular statement. That is, from here it will come to this user defined function because I have called this function add. So you can see add over here, add over here. N1 has the value 10, it will go in A. N2 has the value 20, it will go in B. Now this particular user defined will start its execution from this curly bracket. RES result is equal to 0. Result is equal to 10 plus 20, that is 30. So return 30. From this statement the control will come back over here where it was called, and this statement, this particular statement will get replaced by 30, that is the value of result. So now the value variable AD is equal to 30. Similarly, sub function, mul function and div function. With this statement the control will jump over here. With this statement the control will jump over here, and with this statement the control will jump over here. When all these functions will return back, this particular statement will get replaced by the values which are there in the result. In the next 4 statements I have just displayed the results and end of the program with this curly bracket. So this is the most simplest function. You can use such type of functions with different operations. Next we'll see one more example. Write a program to calculate p is equal to x raised to n using a function. So here I have used one function. Its name is prod or product. I'm going to give 2 inputs of type integer and it is going to give me back a result of type integer. Avoid main function. Integer p comma x comma n, I will require 3 variables. Printf, enter the value of x and n. These both the values have to be given as input. In this statement I have taken the values of x and n. Let x be 2 and n be 3. Okay, x is 2 and n is 3, that is 2 raised to 3. I have to get the value 8. P is equal to product x comma n. Here I have called the function product. So from here now the control will jump over this product user defined function. X is 2, so now A will be 2. N is 3, so B will become 3. I have taken local variable result and I. RES I have declared in this particular function, so RES and I is the local variable to the function product. By using this for loop, I have calculated 2 raised to 3, that is 2 into 2 into 2. It will get stored in the variable result, and I have given here return result. So 8, return 8. From here the control will jump back over here, and this particular statement will get replaced with 8. So now what will be this statement? P is equal to 8. So printf product is equal to 8 will get displayed, that is 2 raised to 3 is 8. So this is how we have used a user defined function and we have called the function. So with this we finish with today's lecture. Thank you.